The Sydney International Regatta Centre, the SIRC, near Penrith, Australia, was constructed as part of the Penrith Lake scheme as a competition rowing facility consisting of two major lake systems. When the SIRC was originally constructed, the lakes were planted with ribbon weed in an effort to alleviate the potential problems caused by algae and exotic macrophytes, and to establish a balanced aquatic system. Macrophytes are an exotic weed, and their presence in an aquatic community affects the dynamics of nutrients, water quality, and invertebrate fish interactions. Increased nutrients, known as eutrophication, flowing into the system further increases their growth to an uncontrollable level. In March 1997, ribbon weed began to break away at its base and float to the surface, causing major problems for management of the lakes and its primary users, as floating leaves interfered with all types of water sports. To alleviate the problem, floating ribbon weed was physically removed from the lakes using aquatic weed harvesters, a mechanical dredging device used to eliminate or control weed. A monitoring program was instigated in October 1997, where patterns in the distribution and abundance of submerged aquatic macrophytes were measured. However, growth continued as the mechanical harvesting was not controlling the plant growth. Chemical control of macrophytes using fluoride and diquat have proven to be ineffective. Macrophytes have now become a problem affecting recreational activities, and thus a new method of control is to be instigated. A weed can be defined as a wild plant growing where it is not wanted and in competition with cultivated plants. Thus, by definition, any plant species growing in the regatta centre that is not wanted, for example the chara, can be classified as a weed, and methods of control are necessary for its removal.
In the 1980s, the USA developed a form of sterile triploid grass carp. Triploid grass carp, Tenopharyngodon idella, are a suggested biological control for the regatta centre, as they are long-lived herbivorous species known to be successful for weed control. As a biological control, their function is to prey on noxious macrophyte species, preferential to their dietary needs. Grass carp can survive for up to 15 years and are not easily removed from their habitats. Triploid grass carp are incapable of reproducing, as they contain 3 sets of chromosomes. Therefore, their release into the centre poses no harm to aquatic ecosystems if they escape. Grass carp are selective feeders. When more than one noxious plant species is present, the carp will feed almost exclusively on the more preferred plant species before targeting the other available aquatic plant species. Macrophytes present in the lake that are commonly consumed by grass carp include Cara, Hydrilla, ribbonweed and pondweed. However, these species only equate for the minority of total species present in the regatta centre. Common rush, native reed and water milfoil that are also present are not a preferred food item of the grass carp, thus their ability to eliminate all macrophytes is inconsistent. The required stocking density of herbivorous fish is estimated mostly from the total biomass of vegetation in a water body. According to several previous studies, grass carp stocked sufficient amounts, approximately 4 to 8.4 carp per metric tonne of vegetation, can completely remove the noxious vegetation within a period of 8 to 17 months. However, as such an abundant amount of carp have been introduced in this model, there is great potential for these carp to begin consuming macrophytes preferable to the regatta system once the carp's preferred food source has been exhausted. We can conclude therefore that as well as the carp not having the capacity to remove the noxious weed in the specified time period prior to the Rowing World Cup in March next year, there is also the possibility for the ecosystem of the river to be destabilised if the grass carp is overstocked in the lake. Grass carp are mainly herbivores, but will consume insects, invertebrates and other fish food organisms if more preferable food sources have been exhausted. Grass carp do exhibit minor competition with typical bass populations for food. Therefore, it is possible that the long-lived carp may deplete bass numbers temporarily in the lakes. It is also possible for the lake to be understocked with carp, which may lead to no control of the macrophyte infestation. Therefore, it is extremely important that the amount of macrophyte weed in the lake be measured extremely accurately to account for both under and overstocking of the grass carp. Furthermore, grass carp as a biological control are efficient when in optimal conditions. Optimum water temperature for food consumption by the grass carp is 20 to 28 degrees. A sudden water temperature drop by 4 to 5 degrees Celsius from 20 degrees or less decreases or even stops foraging for food. According to B. Cudmore, 2004, dissolved oxygen levels in grass carp below 3 milligrams per litre can cause stress in the carp, but they can tolerate levels as low as 0.2 milligrams per litre. Thus, further investigation of the Regatta Centre's aquatic environmental conditions is necessary before considering the introduction of this fish species.
Bass species prey on yabbies, shrimp and small fish, as well as insects and insect larvae. If juvenile grass carp are introduced into the Regatta Centre, they will be vulnerable to bass predation. However, bass will not prey on adult carp. Similarly, cormorant bird species that inhabit the Regatta Centre prey mostly on fish smaller than 30 centimetres. For example, Lake Baldwin was stocked with over 60 fingerling diploid grass carp per hectare of lake to control Hydrilla. No control was achieved, however, because an estimated 94% of the stocked grass carp died. The high mortality rate was apparently due to largemouth bass predation. Handling stress, water chemistry changes and temperature changes are some additional causes of the mortality that could affect grass carp after they were stocked into the lake. To eliminate this as an issue, it would be prudent to only stock the lake with mature adult carp over 30 centimetres in length that would not be susceptible to predation by these species. In relation to the possible impact on the native ecosystem other than what has been previously specified, I. Papilova found grass carp to be an extremely motile fish capable of the infestation of other aquatic ecosystems in a short period of time. As these carp are sterile and the Regatta lake system is an isolated network of lakes, the chances of excessive damage to non-target ecosystem is relatively small, with the possibility of species invasion limited to human factors such as artificial infestation. Feeding habits of grass carp on macrophytes limit the area in which bass can deposit their eggs, furthermore decreasing the reproductive fitness of the native bass. The key to using grass carp is to stock the proper number based on their vegetation preferences, the biomass of the target weeds and the pond coverage of the plants. According to CRISPR, grass carp are advantageous because they eliminate chemical treatments that could involve water use restrictions, are relatively inexpensive if restocked over the multiple year control period, are easy to use since they usually do not have to be handled. Biological aquatic weed control is more effective in the Regatta Centre than chemical mechanical control, but stocking rates will be difficult to monitor due to the potential high grass carp mortality rates for lake managers. Biological control is also generally considered more environmental friendly by the public. Carp will consume plants on the non-desired list if the more desired plant species are not available. Control of these non-preferred plant species may be incomplete and is highly likely to take longer than desired by the Regatta Centre. However, as other control methods have been proved to be ineffective, options to control these macrophytes seem to be limited to biological control methods involved grass carp. An alternative suggested course of action could involve the alteration of the lake's environmental conditions to a state non-conducive to the survivability of the noxious macrophytes. This would, however, involve significant research. The only other option may be to postpone the rowing cup.